Finally, in the month of February, I found my five-star read. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Trishita Reads. I am Trishita and in this video I will be talking about all of the books that I read in the month of February. And let me tell you guys, February as a reading month was absolutely amazing. With respect to January, I read a lot of books. I finished reading 14 books and my reading month was quite diverse. I have read books that I have DNF. I have read books that have got awards. I have also read basic romances, fluffy romances, billionaire romances, epic fantasies, normal fantasies, and so on and so forth. Cherry on top, I finally found my first five-star read for the year 2025. So I'm very excited to talk to you guys about the books I read, the books I did not like, the books I loved and adored. So without any further ado, let's start with this video. You already know the drill. I will be talking about the books that I did not like first in the video, and then slowly and gradually I will move towards the books that I absolutely loved, and at the end of the video I will have that one book that really stole my heart. Tuck yourselves down with some coffee and some popcorn because this video will not only have rants but this video will also have some very good recommendations. Coming up first, we have one book that I DNF'd because I simply was not understanding what this book was about, and the book I'm talking about is Belladonna. I simply did not expect that I will not be liking this book because in this book there is literally death as a character, okay? And I was expecting a gothic fantasy atmosphere, you know, that eerie atmosphere that is disturbing but intriguing at the same time, but unfortunately, no. This book is supposed to be a gothic romance with the topics of wealth, desire, and betrayal as main plots. But what were the characters? Who were the characters? The main character of this book is Signa. She is a 19-year-old, and since childhood, she has been cursed by death, you can say, where everyone she gets close to dies. When she was born, her parents died. I mean, a party was thrown and every single person in the party died. And since then, she has been moved from one guardian to the other after the previous one dies. She does not have any permanent space. She does not have any bondings with anyone. She is just there, existing somehow. But she also wants to get married. She also wants to have a family of her own, but she also knows that wherever she goes, death will follow her. She goes to a new place after her aunt dies. When she goes there, she finds things to be quite disturbing. In the new household, every single day, people are having parties, and her uncle and aunt have two kids who are very close to her age. And the sister is very sick and she is basically bedridden. She can pass away any day. And because of that, the environment of the house is also a little bit dark. But when Signa investigates a little bit, she realizes that the sister is being given belladonna poison in very small quantities, and because of that, she is sick. Signa goes on a journey where she is not only trying to push death from this household, but also she is trying to find the person who is behind all of these conspiracies. Now, the plot of this book sounds very interesting, and I was literally around 100 pages behind to finish this book, but I realized that this book is not working out for me. Why? Because I did not associate with any of the characters. I literally did not know what was happening in this book. Literally, there was one thing happening in one page, and in the very next page, something completely different was happening. There was no connection between the previous scene and the next scene, and I definitely think that the book was drafted very roughly. I literally feel that there should have been more edits in the book so that the plot would have been a little more seamless. And apart from that, I simply have no other complaints because I don't care. To be very honest, I did not care about this book. Nothing in this book was good. Since this was again a character driven plot, I do expect the characters to evoke some kind of emotions in my heart, right? But not only I did not like Signa, Death as a character also fell short. I did not care about her romance with the guy. I guess he was one of the workers. It was a scandalous relationship or whatever. I did not care about that. I did not care about the siblings. I did not care about anything that was happening in this book. And hence I decided that, okay, I don't want to read this book. I don't want to continue reading this book. I don't want to torture myself. And hence I stopped reading it. I DNF this book. I respect all of the people who really love this book. It's just that this book did not work out for me. A little sad and bummed, but It's okay. Let's move on to the next book that I absolutely did not like. And the book I am talking about is Kairos by Jenny Erpenbeck. I have given this book 1.5 stars, and those 1.5 stars are just because of the writing style of the author and the magic of the translator. Apart from that, I did not like anything about this book. This book is set around the troublesome years before the fall of Berlin Wall. So yes, I was expecting political insights from this book, but unfortunately it was not there. And the most important thing that did not sit that well with me was the romance between a 31-year-old man who is married and has a child with a 19-year-old girl. Basically, the man was having an extramarital affair with this 19-year-old girl. When I read the blurb of the book, I knew that I was going into a unconventional love story where something disturbing will be there. But I never expected the things that happened in this book, and I am not okay with this, you guys. So, the 31-year-old man's name is Hans, and the 19-year-old girl's name is Catherine. It's okay to be in a age gap relationship, but the problem is this 31-year-old man was not only manipulating this girl, he was literally taming her so that she kind of becomes his slave. This guy literally wanted this girl to have nothing in her life apart from this guy, and she was ultimately doing it. She was ultimately falling into the trap without even knowing that she is being tamed or she has been tamed. And there was a point where this girl was asking him to marry her, and this guy literally said that I will rather drink poison than give a divorce to my wife. And this is going to be a spoiler, so if you want to skip a bit, you can. Do you want to stay? Okay. There is an incident in this book where Catherine sleeps with one of her co-workers, and Hans, for the next 2 years, keeps on grinding her about the fact that she cheated on him. Keep in mind that this guy, I mean Hans, never gave a commitment to her. He never said that we are in a committed relationship where I am only seeing you and you are only seeing me. Hans had the audacity to gaslight her every single time they met. Hans had the audacity to just break her mentally and emotionally. I, as a reader, could understand that Catherine was not in a good situation. She was not mentally stable, but was Catherine aware? No, obviously not. And Hans was just putting ghee in the fire. And the most hilarious thing in this situation is Catherine's parents were completely okay with it. When Catherine was 19 years old, when she first met Hans and she fell in love with this guy, she went and told her parents, and her parents were completely fine with it, even though they knew that this guy, Hans, has a past of several extramarital affairs, has a past of Casanova, but still then, her parents are completely fine with it. Her parents are completely fine with their daughter getting involved with a married man. This book was downright creepy. I did not get any kind of insightful things from this book, to be very honest. And I literally was disturbed to my core. To be very honest, I don't want to read a book that does not have either self realization or where the people around the main character who is drowning literally are so nonchalant that they don't even care about the main character. And I literally was thanking God that, okay, I do have parents who care about me. I do have friends who care about me. I do have a partner who cares about me. I literally felt sorry for Catherine, and I just wanted to punch Hans on the face. I literally wanted to kick his balls if possible. And I, to be very honest, did not get any kind of enlightenment after reading this book. It was very disturbing. I learned nothing from this book, to be very honest. And coming to the fact that this book is an international Booker Prize winner, I am definitely very disappointed. Now, coming to the political part of this book, first of all, there was very less glimpses of the political part. The author has concentrated more on the characters. It is a character-driven book. So even though the world of this book is kind of interesting to know about because it is political, and me being a Bengali girl, I love politics. Just don't want to talk about it in front of the camera. Since this book had a backdrop of politics, I was quite interested to see the ground reality of the people over there because this book is translated. So the author belongs from that area, and I was expecting some kind of reality in the political aspect where the author will try to showcase the real side that was not being shown by the media that time, but it was not there, unfortunately, and I am quite sad about that. So apart from the writing, or I can say the magic of the translator, because this is a translated book, I did not find anything good in this book. I literally came to a position where I started questioning how these Booker Prizes awards are given to books. Is it just because the writing of the book is good, Or is it because the author has talking about something unconventional that is so disturbing that it can give you nightmares? And then I came to a very important question, and that is, if people like Colin Hoover can be called out for glorifying topics like DV, then why not people like these who are getting Booker Prize awards are being called for glorifying and romanticizing topics like these where child taming is involved? I would like to get enlightened. Please let me know, guys, if there was any kind of hidden meaning in this book. And if you liked reading this book, then please let me know in the comments down below, because I did not find any kind of substance in this book. And with that, I rest my case here. I did not like this book. Up next, we have a book that has disappointed me so much. And I literally am questioning people who give recommendations on TikTok. Me being the same and doing the same thing, judging people who are doing the same thing is the most hilarious thing ever. We have The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore, and I have given this book 1.5 stars. First of all, what was this book? The 1.5 stars is just because of the cover and the smutty book club that was there in this book. That's it. This is a small town romance where we follow our main character Jeannie, who comes to Dream Harbor and inherits the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which was originally her aunt's. And yes, she has come here for a fresh start. I also need a fresh start after reading this book. Here, she meets Logan, who is a local farmer, and obviously he is grumpy. This girl is sunshine, and sun is literally coming out of her, and it was literally irritating at some point. How can a person be so bubbly in situations where you don't even need to be bubbly? A person has broken into your house, into your cafe at the middle of the night, and when you find out in the morning, in one instance, you are literally afraid and you really want to leave this place because you don't feel secure. But on the other hand, you are literally smiling, giggling, laughing. How is this possible? How? This girl literally never thought of going to the policeman after she realized that someone almost every single day tries to get inside the cafe in the middle of the night. What she does? She calls Logan for help. These two people are having sleepovers in the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and these two people are not doing anything apart from having feelings for each other. You tell me, what kind of logical reasoning is this? I have to say this. In the first 50 pages, I was not able to understand what is happening in the story. There are literally chapters in which the chapter starts in third person POV, and in the middle of the chapter, we are getting first person POV suddenly. I am all okay with feel good romances. I love feel good romances, but this is not it. What is this? What was the ending of this book? What was the ending of this book? If you have read the book, you know what I'm talking about. But what was the ending of this book? My rating just dropped from 2.5 stars to 1.5 stars because of the ending. And even I am giving 1.5 stars to be generous. I don't want to come out as a very negative person. Because of that, I'm giving 1.5 stars. The ending was the most worst thing in this whole book. Okay, the romance was okay. The spicy scenes not needed, but was it there? Absolutely yes. It will slap your face sometimes, and you will start thinking why I'm reading this book. Not a good feeling indeed. Is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe a good book? No, it is not. It is below average, not even mediocre. It is bad. It is bad. If you really want to go and read the book, go for it. Definitely. Who am I to stop you? But if you don't like the book, I'm always here as your big sister or your younger sister to rant about books. Okay? I'm always here. The comment section is always open. We can have a heart-to-heart conversation. When I read Pumpkin Spice Cafe, I was literally this close to go into a reading slump. I never expected this book to give me this kind of unsatisfactory result. The cover of this book is so nice. The cover definitely has done its part. It has done its magic. All of the people who are getting the book are getting the book because of the cover. And people who are fools like us are expecting that something good is going to happen in this book, but it did not. And I am disappointed. I'm not going to continue this series. Even though I have the second book in this series, I am not going to continue this series. It's just not for me. I am not into books in which the characters can be replaced with fillers and they will just make sense. I don't want to read a book that has robotic characters, to be very honest. There are better books than these, and I'll just go and read them. Finally, we are done with all of the books that gave me a headache and nightmare when I was reading them. Now, let's move forward with the books that I loved reading. This section will have all of the books that are 3 or more than 3 star rated by me, and anything that is 3 or more than 3 stars is a good book for me. So, if you want to, you can take recommendations from this section of the video. The first book that I am going to talk about is It's Complicated by Emma Hughes. I have given this book 3 stars. This is a a romance novel, but the underlying themes of this book was quite interesting to read. We have the issues related to fertility in women, we have complexities in relationships, and finally, we have finding your own path. The main character of this book is Dee, and she is in her mid 30s. And the premise of this story starts with a news that Dee gets related to her fertility that completely changes her world. It is a make it or break it kind of situation. The world around her is crumbling. She is not in a good position in life. Her relationship is not working out as well. She has lost all the hope till she gets an idea of platonic co-parenting, which is kind of a cool concept. There enters Andy. He is the main male character in this book. He is a coffee truck owner, and guess what? He is up for this idea. However, as these two people keep on crossing their paths, feelings start getting involved, and this is their story where they try to navigate not only their feelings for each other but also they are finding their own paths. Dee's journey was absolutely amazing to read about, and I really loved the concept of this book. The real life issues that have been talked about in this book was really a fresh thing after reading Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and I really loved reading about the complexities that a woman faces when it comes to fertility and how it affects not only her romantic relationships but her family dynamics also changes. And somehow, since women are always given the pedestal of respect because they can be mothers, this book literally raises the question of whether a woman is required or needed in others' lives if she can't bear a child, which is a very interesting topic. And I was not expecting this from a romance novel. It was so nice to read the friendship between Dee, Rue, and Minnie. The thing that I really love about them is they're always there for Dee and she's also there for them, vice versa. And we just need friendships like these in our real lives. However, the only thing that I did not like in this book was the author tried to tackle a lot of serious issues in this book, and that kind of led to the lack of development of characters in this book. I would have preferred if the author was tackling only one issue in this book, and I would have really preferred if she would have explored that one topic and did justice to that topic. But unfortunately, that was the only reason why I have reduced my rating. Now, let's move to a book that is a very good middle grade romance novel, and that is Geekerella by Ashley Poston. I have given this book 3.5 stars. This book is a modern Cinderella retelling. The main character of this book is Ellie, and she is a hardcore Starfield fan. She literally has a blog dedicated to this entire series where she shares her thoughts regarding the characters, the new movie adaptations, or anything that is going on in the Starfield universe or around the Starfield universe. However, she is not very happy with the cast of the new Starfield adaptation. The main character, that is Prince Carminden's casting, is something that Ellie is not happy about because she somehow has a soft corner for this character, and that is completely related to her father. Her father is the reason why she became a fan of this Starfield series. Even her father and her mother met during the cosplay festival of Starfield. Okay, so this is a huge deal for her. And there enters Darian Freeman. Darian is the one who is going to play Prince Carmindor in this movie. Because of this reason, he is getting a lot of hate from all of the people, including Ellie. She writes a dedicated blog in which she shares her negative criticism on this fact, and her blog gets a lot of attention. She's not usually used to it. Now, coming to the role of cosplay festival in this book, this cosplay festival is completely dedicated to the fandom of Starfield, where everyone cosplays as their favorite characters, and they not only get a chance to meet the people in the cast of the movies, but they also get to participate in a lot of fun activities. And this cosplay festival was started by Ellie's father. So Ellie's life kind of revolves around this. However, after her father's demise, she is not allowed to go to the cosplay festival because of her stepmother. And there enters the main villain of this book, that is her stepmother and her two stepsisters. Oh my god, they were so bad. The stepmother and her two stepsisters continuously bully her. They literally start barking orders to Ellie since the time they wake up in the morning. And Ellie is very frustrated because of that. She literally wants to go to work without any problems, but every single day something is happening. And because of that, she is not only bullied, she is also every single day manipulated that she is not worth it. Ellie literally wants to escape this situation. She wants to go to a different country if possible, but she does not have the funds to do so. So when she sees that if she gets the first prize in the cosplay contest that is happening in the cosplay event, she will be getting free tickets to New York. And she definitely wants to seize this opportunity so that she can never return here in this miserable life of hers. She wants to have a fresh start. So she decides to participate in the cosplay and also does not want her stepmother to know about it, because if she does, there will be a lot of trouble. And on the other hand, Darian is also planning to attend the cosplay festival so that his image is a little saved. And his main motive to participate in this cosplay event is to get a little bit validation from the Starfield fans, because they are the ones who are most critical about him getting a role as Prince Carmindor. And since Ellie is the one who is kind of a part of the organizing team, somehow Darian gets Ellie's number and they start chatting. But the twist is, both of them don't know who they are. Darian knows that Ellie is a part of the organizing team somehow, and on the other hand, Ellie does not even know who he is. But they start talking and they are obviously vulnerable towards each other. They talk about their families, their problems, and all, but they don't reveal their identities. This is a story of Darian and Ellie where not only they are trying to fight their own demons, but they are also trying to fight their own purpose in life. Also, there is a very sweet and cute romance that I think not only me, but you will also love reading about. I was expecting a little more from Ashley Poston because she is one of my favorite writers when it comes to romances. And since I am kind of used to her magical realism, I really was expecting a little something from this book. But Gikarela was a mediocre read if I compare it with her other works. Don't get me wrong, this book is definitely good, but it is not better than A Novel Story or 7 Years Later. Those books are still at top if I compare all of the books that I have read by Ashley Poston. So there's that. But this book is definitely a very good middle grade romance novel, which is also a retelling, and it also has a big role of cosplay in it. I never thought that I will be finishing this book in the month of February, but I somehow did it. And the book I am talking about is The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. We dive into the world of dangerous fae, dark secrets, and a very addictive romance. The main female character of this book is Bristol Keats, and after her parents' demise, or you can say mysterious demise, she discovers that her father might still be alive. But there is a twist. Her father might be kidnapped by creatures in another realm. And only one person can help her, and that is King Taihan. So she goes on a journey with this dangerous fae to save her father. But there is also a hidden intention of this fae, because fae don't help humans without some consequences, right? There is a catch. But to know that catch, you have to read the book. When I started reading the book, the first thing that really shocked me was how simple the writing of this book was. I literally thought that the writing of this book will be very complex and it will be hard for me to read the book, because after reading Holly Black's books and becoming highly, highly disappointed by them, I am literally afraid of reading any book that has fae in them. And I think this book is a little step for me to break that barrier. I really loved the language in this book, and it was very easy for me to dive into the story. The fae universe, or you can say the magical universe in this book, is vividly described. You will easily be able to imagine the creatures that are there. How cunning the faes can be is also presented in a very good way. Plus, there are a certain rules that faes follow, and that is also explained pretty well in the story. But I have to tell you this book does not focus much on romance. So if you are willing to read a romance that has fae in it and the romance angle is explored more, then you can definitely go and read Akotar. But if you want to read a novel that has a little bit glimpse of romance, but the book concentrates more on the plot, more on the thrill, then definitely you can check this book out. Also, I really have to mention this. I loved the bonding that Bristol had with her sisters. In the beginning of the book, it was really nice to see the dynamic that these three sisters had with each other, and how they were, struggling every single day to pay the bills, how they were struggling to maintain the house and basically feed themselves, and how Bristol was also struggling. She was working and she was basically juggling through life, but she was also mourning her parents, and the same thing was going on for her other sisters. And I really loved that. And I really loved reading that section. That section literally made me connect to Bristol a lot. And I definitely give kudos to the author for that. She really made a setting, you can say a pedestal, for the readers to just go and connect with Bristol. And that's when the book became easy for me. The book started becoming familiar with me, and I was literally engrossed in the story. The one thing that was a little bit mediocre for me was the thrill section of the book. It could have been a little more explored, it could have been a little darker, But apart from that, I don't have any complaints from this book. Now let's talk about a Desi romance that I was very excited to read, and the book's name is Match Me If You Can by Swati Hegde. And I have given this book 3.5 stars. This book is a Desi rom-com, and it is a beautiful mixture of slow burn romance, matchmaking, and obviously friendships. The main female character of this book is Jia Deshpande, and she works in a magazine called Mimosa, where she writes articles about relationships. However, she also has a knack for matchmaking. Yes, do you remember Seema Auntie from Netflix? Yes, just like that. But in a very toned down way, which was good. And the main male character of this book is Jaiman Patil, who is her childhood friend and also a local pub owner. Jia, on one hand, is trying to prove her matchmaking skills, and she is willing to grab a dream column in Mimosa where she will be conducting offline matchmaking for all of the subscribers who are interested. And on the other hand, Jaiman is trying and struggling to run his pub. Jaiman has always wanted to own a pub, and he is a very skilled drink maker. He can basically observe your personality and make a personalized drink for you, and that's what he always does when it comes to Jia. But there is a twist. Everything is not fine at all. Jaman has always loved Jia. He can never ever imagine even liking someone else, and on the other hand, Jia, who has not been in any kind of relationships before, is still confused. She thinks that she does not like Jaman. If she starts liking him, then the family dynamics between the Deshpandes and the Patils will be in a juxtaposition situation where if they don't work out, then the two families will get affected somehow. So this is the story of Jaman and Jia, where they try to navigate not only the problems that they are going through in their professional lives, but in their personal lives as well. And guys, I have to tell you, I did have some expectations from this book, but I also kept in mind that it is written by an Indian author, okay? So I was a little bit skeptical, you can say, from the very beginning, but I really was surprised by the writing style of the author. Yes, this is how a debut novel should be written. I really loved the writing style. I loved how seamlessly the story flew by, and I also loved Jaman as a character. He is definitely a definition of green flag. But I also have dicey feelings about Gia here. And I guess she is the reason why I have reduced the rating from 5 stars to 3.5 stars. In one instance, she is shown to be a very strong, independent, career driven woman. And on the other hand, she literally can't figure out if a guy is being flirty with her. Plus, Gia, who has never ever fallen in love with anyone, who has never been in a relationship with anyone, was just trying, or I can say literally forcing a colleague of hers to fall in love with a person in the same office just so she can get a dream column in the Mimosa magazine. Isn't this self centered bullshit? At one point, Gia became really unbearable because I literally was very irritated by her. I did find her arrogant, egoistic, but but I do have a good news. At the end of the story, everything is settled down in a good way. Everything comes to a point where, yes, I did start liking Gia in the last 5 pages, but I loved Jaiman through and through in this book. I really loved how Gia's father was so protective for Jaiman. I really loved how Gia's sister and her husband were also very open to Jaiman as a family, because Jaiman's family dynamics was not that good because he was following his passion, and his father is already settled in the US with a very good business, and his father wants him to join, but he wants to follow his passion. So there was a rift between Jaiman and his parents, but the Deshpandes literally filled that hole, and I really loved that found family connection over there in the book. And if I talk about friendships in this book, I really loved the friendship between Jaiman and Gia's elder sister's husband. They are best friends, and I really love that bro talks they have in the bar. It is a very simple, slow burn, sweet romance, and that's all you can expect from this book. One bonus thing that I really liked in this book was I really loved how there is representation of gender fluidity in this book, and I also really loved that one of the side characters was a lesbian, and I also loved that the author is trying to include characters who are not straight, okay? And keeping in mind that we are living in India where the society is a little bit orthodox, writers do feel a little bit awkward when it comes to writing books about characters who are not straight, but this author is trying to make a change, and I really appreciate that. Just wanted to add this as a bonus. Now let's move on to the next book. Up next, let's talk about a book that I did not expect to be this good, but it was. I am talking about To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods by Molly X. Chang. I have given this book 4 stars. The main themes of this book book are war, morality, and the difficult decisions that we have to make when we are oppressed. The main character of this book is Ruing, and she holds a very special and very powerful weapon, and that is she can take life from anyone through magic. But because of the power she holds, she can be a friend and a very dangerous foe to people. And when an enemy prince, Antony Augustus, stumbles upon this power of hers, he offers her a very dangerous bargain. Become his private assassin and he will protect her family. This sets Ruing in a path full of moral dilemmas and difficult decisions. One of the most striking things that sets this book apart from other romantasy novels is how the author has explored the concept of morality. Ruing's internal conflict is palpable as she goes through her journey of killing people, and on the other hand, she even though knows about the consequences of the actions she is making, but she is doing the things that she is doing to protect the people she cares about. The book really made me question to what extent people are willing to go for their survival and the survival of their closed ones, and the lines get blurred between right and wrong. Ruing throughout her whole journey was conflicted with her decisions, was constantly in a juxtaposition where she knew that the things that she was doing was not right, but she was doing it because she had no other choice. And I was literally sympathizing with her every single time where she was losing herself almost every time she was killing someone. But she was kind of happy and content because in the back of her mind, she knew that her family was safe. And that's the exact point where I could relate to the character the most, because not only me, I think you guys will also relate to this character, because we will do anything and everything that is possible from our side to protect the people that we love, right? And I really loved that realistic touch the author has given in this book, because this is something very new, where the main female character is going in a villainous arc throughout the whole book, and we know why she is turning into the monster that she is turning into, and we are also sympathizing with her. This is the first time that I have read a book in which I have seen a villain in making. I am really, really, really happy that I chose this book and I read it. It was literally a random buy from Amazon because this book was available for a very cheap price that time. And I thought that, okay, the cover of this book is really nice. I should go and read it. And oh my God, I am not even disappointed. This is a perfect example where sometimes if we judge a book by its cover, that might go in our favor as well. Ruing was absolutely amazing. She was fascinating to read about. She was headstrong at one point and she was vulnerable at the other point. I love the spectrum of character development that she went throughout the whole book. Now let's talk about Antony, her love interest. Antony is a very well layered character because even after finishing this book, I am still not clear about his actual motives. Yes, there is a sequel of this book coming in the later part of 2025, and that is the reason why the author has not revealed everything. I think that the sequel will have some explanation to my confusions. Sometimes I really empathized with Antony, while on the other hand, I was literally furious on him because I was not able to understand what his real motives were. Sometimes he came out as a villain, sometimes he came out as a suppressed hero who, given the chance, can actually make changes in the society. I am just going to wait for the sequel to know where Antony is going. I still have dicey feelings about him. This book also talks about a very, very, very sensitive topic, and that is colonization. Especially when I read the foreword of this book, the author has mentioned that her grandparents used to share fairy tales with her when she was a child. In real life, there are no monsters, there are no mythical creatures. Then why are you guys telling me lies? Then her grandparents revealed to her that these are the stories that have come through generations, and every story has some hidden trauma, some hidden truths, some hidden secrets. Definitely, every story holds a segment of our past, of our history, and it really hit me so hard because every region of every part of the world has some folklores that are made of mythical creatures. But if you think deeper, you will realize that they are talking about either a part of history or a part of the historical society that people used to live in. It is really, really fascinating, and it changed my perspective towards the book completely. I really loved the writing of this author because the writing was very easy to understand. The magical world created in this book was very easy. There were some elements of science fiction in this book, but majority of the part was the fantasy element. The next book that I'm going to talk about is a book that I reread accidentally. but ended up loving the experience. And the book's name is The Inmate by Frida McFadden. I chose this book for a reading challenge, and when I started reading this book, in the first 50 pages, I literally was feeling that, okay, I have read this plot somewhere, I have gone through the story, but I don't know in which book. But when I was almost at the climax of the book, I realized that, okay, I have read this exact same book and I know what is going to happen next. So I was a little bummed. I was a little sad because if you have read Frida McFadden's books, you know that they are one time reads only. They are popcorn thrillers, everything moves very fast. And I think because of that, her plots are somehow forgettable. Once you read the book after a few years, you forget what the story is about, and that's completely normal. And the same thing happened with me as well. But when I finished the book, I really enjoyed the experience of reading that book again. Not gonna lie, I really loved the experience of revisiting the thriller again where I knew what the plot was. I was feeling a little bit smart in predicting the plot. So it was kind of a self satisfactory read where for the very first time I was able to predict what was happening because I had already read the book before. The title of this book gives you a little bit glimpse of what the story is about. This story revolves around a prison. The main female character of this book is Brooke, and she is a nurse practitioner in a high security jail. And she has to follow only three rules. Number one, treat the inmates with respect. Number two, do not share any personal information with the inmates. And number three, don't get too close with any of the inmates. But Brooke has already broken the rules. She has a secret connection with Shane Nelson, one of the prison's most dangerous inmates, who used to be her high school sweetheart and who she helped to get behind the bars. He wanted to murder Brooke. The tension and the dilemma Brooke goes through this entire book is the driving force of the story. Not only Brooke, I was also in a point where I was not able to see beyond the plot. I was not able to decide who was right and who was wrong. At one point, I literally thought that the main villain of this book is the most innocent person of this book. Okay, so yes, definitely I am dumb, but I also think that this is the magic of Frida McFadden's writing. There is thrill in this book, there is crime involved in this book, there is a mystery that everybody is trying to solve in this book. So it was an absolutely amazing reread. Up next, the book that I am going to talk about is partially a sports romance because the main male character in this book is an ex-footballer, and the book's name is When Grumpy Met Sunshine by Charlotte Steen. I have given this book 4 stars. The title says it all. This romance novel has grumpy sunshine trope. The ex-footballer Alfie Harding is the most grumpy and, if you can say, ancient man that I have read as a main male character. And on the other hand, we have the ball of sunshine, the golden retriever of the book, the main female character, Mabel Williker. Mabel Williker is a ghostwriter, and Alfie hires her to write a memoir for him. And that's how these two people start connecting with each other. The reason why I really love the chemistry between them is because they start with a very awkward situation. It was not smooth at all. As I said, Alfie is an ancient man. He does not have an Android phone. He does not have any kind of social media accounts. So it was very fun to read a very quirky and unique connection between Alfie and Mabel. And there is also another reason why I love this book, and that is the main female character is oversized. So we see a modern body positive twist in this book. This is the first time I have read a book with an oversized main female character, and my mind has literally broadened. I will definitely go and search for other books that have same MMCs or FMCs because the way they share their insecurities about their bodies, the way they look, the way people perceive them, or the way people don't look at them is something that I could relate a lot. And I think we need more books like this where the main characters look like us, where we can relate to them the most. We don't want 6 foot tall models every single time. There are already a lot of books like that. But I personally really love characters who look like us, talk like us, are relatable like us. And this book has absolutely delivered in that part. Mabel is really insecure about the fact that Alfie has dated people before who were models, and she is a plus sized normal woman who is just doing her work. So it was a very emotional journey of her to accept the fact that yes, people can like her on the basis of her heart, her personality, and looks as well. She is not abnormal human being. She is just oversized. And that should not be a factor why a person is not dating her, right? Easier said than done. Since Alfie was literally an ancient person, literally I could see my parents' reflection in him because he is not very used to the modern technologies. And it was so fun to read the humor scenes in this book. Kudos to the author that she has balanced the emotional and vulnerable side of Mabel. And also on the other hand, we get to read a lot of humorous sides and scenes from Alfie. So we get to know both of the characters here in this book. It's not like we concentrate on only one character, and that's the best thing. I could relate more to Mabel unlikable, but I also ended up loving Alfie. At first, I had very dicey feelings about Alfie. I literally thought that I will end up hating this guy, but he slowly and steadily grew on me. After the book ended, I really ended up loving this guy. Up next, I'm going to talk about another Desi romance that I really loved reading, and the book's name is The Dating Plan by Sara Desai. I have given this book 4.5 stars. This is not a typical Desi romance because the main female character is actually an NRI and she is based abroad. But if you are looking into the core principles of Indian households, yes, they are there. The two main characters of this book are Daisy Patel and Leah Murphy, and this is a charming tale of second chances and fake engagement. At first, I was a little bit concerned about the second chance trope because if not done properly, then that would have been the only reason of me not liking the book. But I am so glad to say this that I really loved the way the author has executed the second chance trope. Daisy is a brilliant software engineer and she works in a startup that expertises in producing organic sanitary products for women. And because of some circumstances, Liam, who used to be her childhood crush, turns into her fake fiance. When they were children, both Daisy and Liam dated for a very short time and then Liam dumped her on her prom day. Basically, he ghosted her. She did not know where he went, what he was doing. He completely cut his connection off from Daisy and her family. And that really broke Daisy. After that, Daisy was not into any kind of relationships, even though she was dating people, but she was not serious with any one of them. But in the present timeline, Daisy and Liam are now fake engaged. Daisy's family has always been pressurizing her to marry someone because apparently she is of that age to marry. Because otherwise, if she passes this age, no good man will marry her, which is kind of relatable if we consider the societal norms of India. And on the other hand, Liam also wants a wife for a year to fulfill the inheritance terms of his grandfather. So both of them strike a deal to marry each other and be in that arrangement for 1 year so that both of them get benefited. Daisy will finally be able to rub off all of those nosy aunties who literally eat her mind every single time to marry someone. And on the other hand, Liam will get the inheritance that he was promised by his grandfather. However, this marriage of convenience slowly becomes a little bit troublesome because both of them start forming feelings for each other again. Because guess what? After that fallout of the relationship due to the circumstances that will be revealed in the book, we get to know that these two people have not actually loved anyone else apart from each other, which is kind of cute. So this is a journey of Liam and Daisy where both of them, yes, are facing career issues. They have to make a lot of difficult choices, but also their love life is very chaotic. The question is, after the incident that happened in the past, will Daisy be able to overcome that thing and give Liam a second chance? That journey is the reason why you should read this book. The author has beautifully blended humor, heartbreak, and emotional depth in the characters, which make not only their chemistry sizzling, but they also connect with the readers. Both of the main characters in this book are grumpy, and it was very nice to see how both of their egos clashed when the situations came. And I was literally rooting for them to just get together. But if you ask me to choose between Liam and Daisy, I will always go for Daisy. Her morals in life, her aspirations in life, the way she handles with the problems is something that can inspire a lot of Indian women. Otherwise, this is a very simple and sweet and romantic and a very cute romance novel that has a little bit of smut in it. Till now, this is the best Desi romance I have read so far. I have got a lot of Desi romance novels in my shelf, so I am very excited to tier rank them when I get done with all of them. Up next, I am going to talk about a book that I really loved reading, and the book's name is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I was not even surprised because Lauren Asher always hits the spot when it comes to writing billionaire romances. Earlier, I read the Dreamland Billionaire series and I absolutely loved it. And I read Love Redesigned this month and I am in awe with the writing style of this author. The story of this book follows Julian and Dahlia. Their mothers have been best friends for a very long time, but between them, they have been frenemies for the longest time ever. There has been a constant healthy competition between Julian and Dahlia since they were children, and this is still continuing in present timeline also. When Dahlia returns to Lake Wisteria after a broken engagement, Julian's mother pushes both of them together to renovate a house because guess what? Both of their mothers have always wanted their children to get into a relationship, to fall in love with each other, but unfortunately because of life this didn't happen. And when they found an opportunity to push them together where Dahlia needed that moral support and the time to heal and Julian needed something in his life apart from work, what started with something as simple as renovating a house becomes complicated when Julian and Dahlia start forming feelings for each other. But both of them have a past past together that their parents don't know about, it is very difficult for them to move past that. So we go on a journey where these two people are not only trying to figure out what is going on in their lives. Julian is trying to figure out what he is going to do if Dahlia does not fall in love with him. Dahlia, on the other hand, has more difficult problems in her plate. She is trying to heal from the cheating and broken engagement, and she is also dealing with a problem that I will not talk about in this video because that will be considered as a spoiler, but it will really break your heart for Dahlia. And the only question that remains is, will these two people who have so many past baggages, who have so many things to deal with, will fall in love with each other, or they will just let it be? The Dreamlight Billionaire series and Love Redesigned has one major difference, and that is in Dreamlight Billionaire series, the three brothers were running the legacy. They were not the ones who built the entire empire, but they were contributing to it to make it bigger, grander, and they were succeeding in that. However, in Love Redesigned, we see the main character Julian to build everything from scratch, and it was absolutely amazing. I really love reading about characters who have depth in them, who have that zeal in them, and I really love that the author has included the work segments of Julian also in the book to make us readers know what he is doing and why he is earning so much money. It is not like a fairy tale where this guy is just going to the office once in a while and earning all of the money. This guy was dedicated AF. This guy never ever takes a holiday. This guy works every single day, and that is paying him. On the other hand, we have Dahlia, who is also a self-made woman. She is a TV star. She used to host a home renovation show on TV with her ex-fiance. So I really loved that both of the characters were very focused on their careers. Both of the characters were working very hard for their careers, and that is the most beautiful thing that I liked in this book. And the second thing that I liked in this book was the banter between these two people. Not only the interactions between them were vicious, but the sparks flying between them was something that I could feel from the very first interaction they were having. The chemistry is off the charts, is absolutely amazing. The romance between these two people is slow burn, which I absolutely loved, and it will definitely have you on the edge of your seat. One thing that I will say after reading this book is, ladies, if he wanted to, he would. Dania was also dealing with anxiety and depression in this book, and the author has really handled these vulnerable situations beautifully. I really love that these two things were not the identity of Dahlia. I really love that the author had added so many more things into the character that these two things really feel like a layer that you need to know about Dahlia's personality, but it is not the entire personality of Dahlia. So yes, this is a beautiful, beautiful billionaire romance that has enemies to lovers trope in it, that has a partial fake proximity trope also. And if you ask me, this is the best work I have read by Lauren Asher. I am yet to read the Dirty Air series, which I will be starting super soon. So my expectations from that series will definitely be very high. But till now, Love Redesigned is at top for me when it comes to the works of Lauren Asher. In 2025, I have made a resolution that I will be reading at least one book written by an Indian author every single month, and I was able to do it. I read many Ramayanas, many lessons by Anand Neelkantan. What do I say? Everything, every single letter that has been printed in this book was worth it. I have given this book 4.5 stars. This book is a non-fiction that talks about the different Ramayana versions that are available throughout the world. And this book definitely gave me a clarity when it comes to me understanding Ramayana, me understanding the characters of Ramayana, because when you read different versions of one particular story, you get to see different layers of characters when you put all of them together, and the author did that for us. He basically did us all a favor. We all know that history can be manipulated and changed as time goes by, and when it comes to these Mahagathas like Mahabharata and Ramayana, then we already know that the original Ramayana or Mahabharata has literally been morphed and changed to the convenience of the people who have written them, so that in some Ramayanas, Ram is considered as the main god, and in some other Ramayanas, Sita is considered as the main goddess. So if you see and read the book, your mind will open up to so many windows that you will start questioning the things that you have learned in your childhood from Valmiki's Ramayana. And I really loved that, enlightenment, you can say. I really loved to read about characters like Surpanakha, who was always considered to be a significant villain character in Ramayana. But when you read the other versions of Ramayana, you will realize that she was just a helpless woman, and she had the dignity in that time to go and ask for a hand of marriage from Lakshman or Ram. And what they did, they cut her no's. They could have just said no and she would have left, but they chose to throw her dignity off the charts and it really infuriated her. Why will it not? Ram was the one who killed her son, and her son was the only ray of hope for her in life. And when you think about these perspectives, do you really think that Surpanakha was a villain, or do you feel that Surpanakha was the one with whom injustice was happening? Do you really feel that Ram and Lakshman were the people who were gods and they did not make any kind of mistakes? Yes, they did. They did mistakes, and because of that, they also had to go through the consequences. And it is so beautiful to see a realistic approach to a Maha epic. This is the moment not only me but you guys also have been waiting for, and that is, drumroll please, the five-star book that made my February a beautiful month of reading. The book I'm talking about is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. The Final Empire is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy, and since this book was around 700 something pages long, I was not gonna lie, a little bit intimidated by the length of the book. And since this book is a epic fantasy, I was also a little intimidated, thinking that I will be entering a new fantasy world, whether it will be easy for me to dive into or whether it will be difficult for me to dive into. I was having mixed feelings. But guys, when I started reading the book, my jaw literally dropped to the floor and it continued till the point the book ended. And oh my god, what a beautiful ending of the book it was. I am literally so impressed by the unique world building done by the author and how the intricate magical system works in this book. I'm literally going to devour every single thing written by this author from now on. The story of this book is set in a world where continuously ash falls, and there is an oppressive group of people known as Ka, who are the laborers in the community, who are not only tortured but they can also be killed if they look into the eyes of one of the royals, which seems very dark, right? And everything is controlled by the Lord Ruler, who is ruling the entire kingdom. And then enters Kelsier, my favorite character from the book. Kelsier is a charismatic thief and he is a Mistborn. Now, who are Mistborns? Mistborns are people who have magic in their blood. They can perform allomancy. Now, what is allomancy? Allomancy is a magical power in which you can use different metals which can be used as catalysts to ignite a few of your senses. And I can only suggest you guys to read the book to understand the whole magical system, because not only it is very intriguing, but also I think this book deserves every single reader out there. You guys should definitely go and read the book. I am not going to talk about the magical system in this book more because I think the video will be a lot longer if I do so. Mistborns, however, are very rare. Not every person holds powers. Not even the royals hold powers. But Kelsier is a Mistborn and he is a thief. He is trying to gather an army of people, which involves Ka, which involves people who are trying to go against the Lord Ruler, and together they will try to throw the Lord Ruler from his power, and they want to build a community where not only the Scars but also the royals are in a more stable position, because the Scars also deserve a better life, right? And in the process of finding people who can work with Kelsier, he comes across Vin, who is a street urchin, but she does not know that she is also a Mistborn. When she meets Kelsier, she discovers that she has Mistborn abilities and she decides to join the rebellion. She decides to join Kelsier. One of the most remarkable things in this book was the magical world building. Sanderson did an amazing job not only in the world building of the book, which I am very impressed by the way, but also I got so connected with each and every character in the book. I literally was not expecting that. I got attached to the side characters. I literally cried in certain parts of the book. I literally smiled when the characters were smiling and having a good time. I literally was in a tense situation where the fight scenes were going on, and I almost felt every single emotion when I was reading the book. This literally happened after a long time, because I remember feeling the same when I was reading The Lord of the Rings for the very first time. I think that I have not told you guys this before. The Lord of the Rings series is my favorite epic fantasy series to ever exist, and I think now I can consider the Mistborn trilogy to be my second favorite epic fantasy series. I really loved the father-daughter relationship that Vin and Kelsier had in this book. I literally was so happy to see that Vin finally has found a family who genuinely care for her. There are no hidden agendas. Nobody is trying to betray her. and that was so nice to see, and there was also a small glimpse of romance in this book, which was not huge. Okay, the main plot remains the same. The romance is just a beautiful plot element that the author has beautifully played, and I really loved that as well. And the best part, there is no smut. Also, I have to mention this one thing: since there were a lot of metals involved in the allomantic system, I had a little bit of confusion in the beginning of the book, but the author has a glossary at the end of the book, which makes it easier for me to, just go back time and again if I feel confused about a metal and its properties. It was really amazing, and I really appreciate fantasy novels that have glossaries in it. It becomes easier for us readers to understand what is going on, because sometimes we really have memory of a goldfish. Not only I loved the character depths and character arcs of all of the characters present in the book, there were no loopholes as well. Plus, the best thing in this book was the writing style. Even if you are an amateur reader, you will end up loving this book. You will end up understanding everything because it is Brandon Sanderson. The writing style is so simple yet so compelling that I simply could not stop reading this book when I started it. I never thought that I will be able to finish a 700-page book, and that to a fantasy, within such a short span of time, but I did it. Okay, and that speaks a lot about the book. My two other favorite characters apart from Kelsier and Ven are Sazed and Kelsier's elder brother, and I think this is the best way in which I can wrap my February reading wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me talking about my February reads. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite reads were from the month of February. Also, let me know if you are taking any kind of recommendations and planning to read a book from this video. Also, let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of the books that I mentioned in this video and your thoughts about the books. I'll really love to discuss about these books with you guys. If you have come this far in the video, then definitely you are a book lover. Then please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps me a lot, and it really motivates me to make more beautiful bookish content like this. Also, don't forget to share this video with your fellow book lover friends. And I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, pick up a new book, turn those pages, and dive yourself into the world of fiction. Bye!